Hello, SDC Artists. Mr. Kushel here. I thought I'd take a quick minute to do a quick video on what I'm calling the 3 C's of image editing. These are some guidelines for editing any photos that you take for this class, any classes outside of this class. This is the steps that I think about and go through when I'm thinking about creating a good image. Because oftentimes the picture that you take in the camera might have the best information, it may have the best pose, the lighting is excellent, but it's just not popping yet. So hopefully if you follow these steps, you can take those photos that are almost amazing and turn them into something great. So let me just quickly, I'm going to go through what the 3 C's of image editing are, and then I'm going to demonstrate how I using just Google Photos, edit my photos. So the 3 C's of image editing in this class are cropping, contrast, and color. And I usually go through those 3 C's in that order. Maybe I flip and do color before contrast, but the number one thing I usually do first is cropping. So what is cropping and how do I do it? So cropping is, I've got this picture, I took a picture today using the guidelines for the assignment, the simple subject, using a regular house light, and it has a very strong, weird, creepy shadow. The light is coming from below, so it's giving it that kind of eerie feel to it. So I do want to just edit this with Google Photos, so I'm not going to be able to do things like get rid of this little dust bunny here. Unfortunately, I should have probably swept that away before I edited this photo, but for the most part, we're going to have to deal with being okay with imperfection here. So the first thing I'm going to do is crop. When I was taking this picture, I was so focused on the vase, I didn't really think about following those rule of thirds guidelines. And there's a little bit of information here that I don't really need. Cropping is not about like getting rid of everything, but it's really about just focusing in on what is the most essential part of this photograph. If you notice, just by kind of coming in a little bit on this side and this side, I focus in more on just the shadow and the vase. So here we go. This is what cropping looks like. So the second C, once I've kind of cropped out the extra and I focused it down to its essence, I want to think about how should I color this photograph? Do I want it to be kind of like a vintage black and white look? Do I want it to be a warm uh, orange look? Or do I want it to be kind of like a cool blue look? And you can kind of go like in between. It doesn't need to be, I'm kind of exaggerating the color here, whether it's an extreme blue or an extreme yellowish color or an extreme black and white. You can also go in between. I kind of like this for this picture because there's pretty much no color in the photograph. I'm in this black and white mood right now, so I'm kicking with black and white. So now once I've picked how I like the color, I'm going to start to think about contrast. And contrast is how bright or dark something is, and it's also the relative brightness and darkness of the color. So it either has an extreme bright, an extreme dark, and a variety of tones in between, which is an example like this one, which is very high contrast. There's only really bright and dark and a few range of values in between. Or it can be very low contrast. It can have a variety of middle grays here. Typically, high contrast artwork tends to look a little bit more dramatic, whereas low contrast artwork tends to look a little bit more flat. It's really a personal preference. So I lead more towards these high contrast, very graphic quality, and I think again that would complement the film noir kind of look. So those are my 3 C's. You can either use your phone's software to go through these 3 C's of color, of crop, color, and contrast, or you can use, I like to use Google Photos just because that's where I store all of my photographs anyways. There are also a few other online programs that we might get into later on, but for now, just keep it simple. So I'm going to just quickly show you how I use Google Photos. So this is my Google Photos menu. Again, you would get there just by Googling photos/google.com. And then to add any photos to your album, you just want to click upload from computer, and then you would upload your photo here, or you could, it's telling me I can drag and drop. I already have the photograph in here because I've been working with Google Photos for years now. So literally it keeps a record of like every photograph I've ever taken going all the way back to 2011. Some of these are photos that I downloaded for projects, but like, so the nice part about keeping your stuff on Google Photos is literally I have a record here of going back all the way to 2012, so I don't need to like worry about finding things because I know it's all there. So now I'm going to open up my photo. This is it. If I need to edit this picture, I'm going to click on this button called Edit, and then I have a range of presets I can use to do that kind of do all three. If I need to adjust the cropping, the button for cropping is here. I press this button and it will give me the ability to adjust, come in, clip, clip, and done. Then I'm going to go over to color and start to click this basic adjustments and then think about color. Now I can either go turn it totally black and white, or if I'm looking to make it like cooler or warmer, I'm going to have to click this down arrow and adjust either the warmth to make it very cool or to make it very warm. You can also, if you're going for just a pure black and white, you can just turn this all the way down to kind of get a black and white. You can kind of do, I'm going to do kind of like a mixture. I'm going to make it I'm going to make it cooler and boom. The other thing I like to do so then I've done color. Boom. So I've gotten cropping, color. Last thing is contrast. So with contrast, I'm going to go into this menu, which is I close the color menu and I drop down the light menu, and I can either adjust it up to make it pop, or I can turn it way down to make it softer. I can also individually adjust like the shadow area, make the shadows more rich, or make the highlights, the whites more popping. The other thing I like to play with in this menu is what's called vignette, because that'll give you kind of a little, can give you like a very dramatic like spotlight effect. I like to do kind of just a little bit to go kind of with that classical film noir look. So that's it. I press done. And then I can either download this file by right clicking and pressing download, or I can go directly into my Google Classroom assignment, click add or create, and then I should be able to insert from my Google Drive. If not, you have to actually go to file, download it, and then add it to the file. If you have any questions, please reach out to me in Google Classroom. You can do those same steps with Google Photos. You can do it with the iPhone camera. You can do it with Android. You can do it with Adobe Photoshop. Those are the same. I go through those same steps with all of the software that I use. I hope everybody is safe and well. That's it for me. Have a great day.